Hello, everybody, and welcome to Shenanigans. How are you guys doing today?
Grand.
Grander.
Ooh.
He wins.
Ha.
Bryan,
I
are
win
you
feelings.
grandiose?
Yes, exactly. Super grand.
I use them large on my
Hyper
feelings.
grand.
Ooh. Mega grand. Wonderful. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Shenanigans. How has everyone's couple of weeks been? I know we had an episode off last week.
Well, I'm all good.
Lovely.
Doing good.
The
Doing all
heat's died down here, so I can cope with the days now.
Oh, lovely.
We had the snow all go away for like a few days, and we're like, it's spring, but everyone knows like this is false spring in Montreal. Okay, so
This is right when fall spring comes around. I know what you mean. Yeah.
So it's like everything's melted, all that kind of stuff. You see the streets and the sidewalk, and it's like, yay! And then snowstorm. There's just memes everywhere of like on Facebook of like, the guy hiding behind the tree, just like waiting to fucking pounce out, and it's like second winter waiting and shit like that. It's like, yeah.
You get that one day where it's like 10 degrees Celsius, 50 degrees Fahrenheit out, and you're like, oh, it's not so bad. Maybe we can go outside. And the next day it's a snowstorm.
Exactly.
I know what you mean, man.
I like.
It's been a. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying like that one day I knew what it was. I opened my windows, aired out the apartment because I could, all that kind of shit. Like, yeah, just because take advantage of it, right?
Oh yeah, definitely take advantage of it. But
I know what you mean. I had my doors open and windows open yesterday because we're in that like starting to get nice weather. You're starting to think that global warming's happening. No. March
it feels like global warming's happening here all the time.
Yeah.
Well, we live in different climates, me and you.
But I'm sure in 6 months it'll be the reverse, and we'll be like, oh my god, Montreal's not supposed to be this hot, or, Colorado's hit 100, what are we doing?
Well, then again, I've never seen snow in my life, so...
You might see it this winter. I don't know. Anything's possible these days.
Doubtful.
Yeah. Anyway, why don't we hop into game? Let's see. Where is not even in
I'm looking at the overworld map.
Yeah, I forgot to log in with my GM account. I only logged in with my viewer account.
Oh dear. Well, I'm in Shenanigans looking at Matu's latest artwork then.
Ooh.
What is your latest piece of art, Matu?
With my wait, for the record, did I get a new non-proficient thing when I hit level 3, or is that not?
You're a fighter?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a non-weapon
every 3
proficiency
levels.
at 3. Yeah.
So
every level evenly divisible by 3.
So I basically made a rat effigy with my butchery proficiency. Yeah.
A rat effigy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So basically I took a bunch of rats and I made it look like a dog.
I see.
It is art, but is it inspired enough for Ephra?
I've done...
What can you add to it? Or is it done?
I will always... Wait, no, that's not the right voice. I will always...
No.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I can't.
I will always attempt to improve my art. But what more can I do?
I'm here to inspire. I'm not here to solve. Things need not be beautiful or bad. I'm not Jesus worshiper here. There's
Maybe
inspiration behind it. What is your inspiration behind this artwork?
I wanted to make a rat dog.
That sounds utilitarian.
But it cannot move. It is art. Maybe antlers to make it a rat dog deer.
That's just adding to it. Like, add meaning. Where's the spirit of it? Why? What is this trying to communicate to people? What is this trying to communicate to the viewer of the art?
I will learn. I will take your advice.
And I start writing poetry about my dog.
Wonderful. Rich, what are you up to?
I am thinking of ways to change things because I'm a transmutation specialist who's trying to change the world. Right? That's
Oh my god.
special.
I don't know if I didn't catch that before, if I'm just appreciating it for the first time now. Rich. Okay. Continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Oh, actually, I'm going through my latest books that I found the last time, because this was exactly why I'm hanging out with these people, was to get all this knowledge so that I could share it to people. Actually, I'm probably trying to teach somebody at the bar. Like, I found like a peasant, and I'm trying to teach them magic.
You're trying, okay. You have found a peasant. Yes, it is a. Where's my D6? 6.
Oh dear! Don't the peasants?
It is a middle-aged woman. She has come here because her boy has been kidnapped by goblins, and she's hired a group of adventurers to go bring her boy back safe and sound. So while she waits in the bar and sobs over her beer, you are attempting to teach her some amount of magic. How's it going?
I don't know. I think I'm trying to find like some, probably like some sort of prestidigitation thing that I'm trying to teach the person. But I'm starting with like the very basics, right? Of like how you pronounce certain words, which I don't know if this person's even literate, but I'm trying to show them where in the books, but they don't read. So.
Oh man.
Time to teach them reading.
All right, well, let's see. There is a flat 10% chance that someone is theoretically capable of wielding magic. Only 10% of the population.
10%?
That's
is,
high.
Yeah,
well, that's the theoretical. But most people who, like, if you want to call it, like, have the gene, never have an opportunity to learn to practice. You know, they like spend their whole life on a farm. In theory, if someone like showed them the way, they might be able to learn. Only the people with real aptitude ever get discovered and get a chance to learn. Or people from wealthy families. That's why you'll have a higher wizard count in like noble families, is that sort of shit gets exploited quickly because they got the resources to do it.
Well, what's the chance of psionics being born into?
You feel a storm outside. The hair stands up on the back of your neck. The tavern goes quiet for a moment as all eyes on it look at you.
I don't have it.
And then you shake your head and you realize that everyone's just going about their normal business and it's fine.
I don't have it. Secretly an X-Man.
Alright, so you're working on teaching this woman some spell casting. The other guys are talking about artwork. And that is when our that's not a good roll. That's a bad roll again. An old lady comes into the bar. And the first pair that she walks up to happens to be Norris and Martois.
I don't know if you're doing it on purpose or not.
I'm not. I just have no idea how to pronounce your names, so I'm just making it up each and every time. And
okay.
Yeah, I'm doing my best, man. I'm doing my best. Trying.
Just go with Marty.
Marty?
Because it's Marteau. So if you want the English version would be Marteau.
Oh, that's so much easier. Why didn't you just say that? Marteau.
Because I said Marteau. It's like
Marteau.
There.
Marteau.
My toe. Got it.
My toe. Mitosis is?
Exactly. My toe. Okay, mitosis. There we go. That's the name I can pronounce regularly. Anyway, this old lady approaches mitosis and Norris. My Norris? I don't know. She has big, comfortable, like soft robes made out of crushed velvet. And she comes up and sits down at your table without even introducing herself, opens this heavy book, pulls out a quill, some ink, and a little bit of sand, puts a couple of sandbags on the corners of the book to hold the pages down, and immediately looks up at Norris and says, "And you, young man, what do you think about the elemental plane of Earth?" As she sharpens her quill.
It's inspired the way the elements converge there to create the mountains and the spirits there. Of course, I'm a little biased in that regard.
And why do you say that?
I worship the goddess Ephra. The inspiration of things draws me to them. But of course, I don't want to go to the elemental plane of Earth because it's so deadly to us soft people.
And what makes you say it's deadly?
The elementals, which are made of big rocks that can squash us without even looking. I hear maybe there's ones the size of mountains just moving around. But my literature hasn't really covered it exactly.
How familiar are you with the elemental planes, stranger?
Me?
Yes.
I'm trying to become more familiar. What do you think happens on the elemental plane of Earth?
I am not sure. I question this sometimes. I think a lot. What do you think would be the best course of action if 2 earth elementals were charging you?
I would expect one would try to run.
Beautiful.
Do you perhaps have a friend who might know more about this? The two of you seem rather somewhat lacking.
You need a wizard, really, because they're the ones who deal with the elements.
Do you have a wizard friend?
I consider myself more of a somebody who. Hello, I walk up.
Hello. Oh, good.
Hello, shouting man.
Just what I was looking for. What do you think life is like on the elemental plane of Earth?
I would imagine that. Are we not all parts of elemental planes? Like, is this not? We have Earth here. This is the elemental plane of Arcadia, you could think, because you see Arcadia all around you.
Well, it's the convergence of the 4 elemental planes. That's our world.
I do believe this is the prime material plane, not an elemental plane, good sir. See, we have not only earth, but wind and fire and water. An elemental plane, to my understanding, has but one of these at a time.
But how does a plane of earth not have oxygen?
Actually, I just pull out one
Air.
of my because I just realized that I have all this information about these things. So can I see if I have a book on the actual elemental planes?
Sure, yeah.
I know.
Yeah, you got a book on the elemental plane of Earth.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm just gonna pull it out and I'm gonna just start doing research on it right now because this person seems to be. I'm a purveyor of knowledge as well. So.
Well, tell me what your book says.
I would say it says a lot about.
The wiki link.
I want his own opinions.
I'll be quiet.
Yeah,
I hear there's much dirt.
I will say it's probably it showed somebody opening up an account of them opening up a portal to the plane, and the plane was just like a big. They didn't really go into it. They just hit the rock there, right? So it was like underground in the elemental plane, and this person was just studying this actual rock that they opened up because they were too afraid to probably go into the plane and fight the monsters.
I heard a story of Desmond lending a portal to the elemental plane of Earth, and then the party just threw a magical sword into it.
How could they throw a sword in if there's no room for the sword to go?
That's a fabulous question. How does the sword go in if it's just dirt? And is it dirt or is it rock?
Maybe
the Holy Avenger, so I don't know.
The earth.
I think it's magic. I think it's magic rock, magic dirt. That's why I could do it.
If it is all earth, then there's probably a section of gold and other valuable rocks as well. Beautiful.
Ooh.
Even diamonds.
Ooh.
What makes a diamond more beautiful than Earth?
Could you have
Shiny and inspired to my eyes.
What about like a diamond elemental?
I've been heard of, yes.
I would like a diamond elemental.
A pair of diamond dogs once attacked the Shenanigans.
Maybe if I add diamonds to my dog, rat, elk effigy, it will be inspired.
Now,
That
would
sounds
you
expensive.
consider a diamond elemental a crystal golem, or is it its own thing?
How do you define crystal, good sir?
Well, I'd
Good
say
ma'am.
like a
Good ma'am, I am a minotaur. I do not see you humans the same way.
It's okay. It matters to us, though, so you might want to try a little harder. But I
I
forgive you.
apologize.
well.
No, I would say a crystal like elemental would be like a pretty weaker one. I would say like a diamond one would be like the highest level of like.
Well, where would Ruby be then? Where
Like a
would
greater.
Ruby elemental be?
Have you heard of durability of stone? That scale would probably indicate the difficulty to combat said golems.
Yeah, but different golems are classed different categories because they've got different capacities.
Capacity for what?
Well, magic and strength and durability.
So it is
Obviously,
not
the diamond will
simply
have more
durability.
durability. Yeah, each have different capacities as well.
But I believe that diamonds are also considered a very magical instrument for some. They would probably also have a magical affinity.
Yeah, like diamond
Beautiful.
uses a regent in spells, isn't it, wizard?
in
That
some
beauty
spells.
alone.
That's more of
What-
a clerical. It's more cleric spells, I think, over diamonds.
Well, I mean, diamond dust is used for a certain stone stins spell.
For that one, for the stone ones, yeah, I guess if you maybe that's where they came it from. So somebody maybe visited the elemental plane of Earth and maybe learned how to turn themselves stone like these elementals.
Which magic is stronger? Magic from mages or clerics?
Well, the power of the mages comes from the, well, I'll just say the world. It's a lot more complicated than that, while mine comes from the gods. So they're comparable, but one is the creation of the gods. So,
But gods would make cleric magic more powerful than wizard magic then, because they
not
are
really.
gods.
The 1500 years ago, the clerics were too powerful, and the wizards were too powerful, and the gods were not happy, and they took away our capacity to resurrect people. So we were once more powerful, but the gods
Excuse
saw
me,
fit
I'm sorry to
to-
interrupt. We're getting a little
Oh, I'm
off
very
topic
sorry.
of my research here. What
I'm
is it
very
like
sorry, ma'am.
to move on the elemental plane of Earth? You know, she turns to the Minotaur. Wizards and clerics, they're always arguing over who's better. She goes right back to the story. How do you
Well,
move there? What's it
Melt
like?
through stone?
Melt
well, it can't
through
be.
stone? Melt?
What is
Well,
that?
there's a spell that allows certain clerics, not mine, but other clerics to meld into the stone and move through it.
Does
So
that
what do the
work through
creatures that
sand?
live there do? Do they just move through stone always? Or are there passages?
They might walk on top of the stone.
There could
Well,
also
there's a
be
top to the
absence. There could also be absence of stone, but not necessarily air. I do not believe creatures of stone need to breathe.
Well, I would sure that the elemental plane of Earth maybe intersects another plane. So where
At the
it
edges it
intersects,
does.
yeah,
At
so
the
you
edges
could
it
live-
intersects.
you could
Yes.
live on top of there.
I do believe the elemental plane of Earth intersects with the planes of water and fire. Do you know what it's like at either intersection?
Are you saying that it's only rock, fire, and ice and still no air then? This is
Well,
complicated.
yeah, it's the opposite side of the circle.
Yes.
Because, I mean, lava's the obvious answer for earth and fire. And that's where you get, like, lava elementals and the kin.
You'd have like a marsh, maybe at water and earth. You could swim through the marsh.
Forgive me for saying this. This sounds like a shitty place to go.
Oh,
Well,
it does, yes.
It's not for us, it's for other beings. All those, like Desmond has a friend in the elemental plane of fire, but where he has magical rings to allow him to survive there. Us people would never survive in these places.
If you think about it from their perspective, maybe the prime material plane is a pretty bad place to live.
Fire elementals find our world very cold.
Quite
Earth
true.
elementals
Quite
find
true.
our world very soft. And, yeah,
How easy
now-
is it to open a portal to these places?
extraordinary,
idea.
too easy.
Too
Desmond has
easy?
them. Too easy. a plane of fire once opened in the just opened up in the streets of Berkshire out front one day, and no one knows. None of the public know how that happened. Then after a day, it disappeared a few years ago, depending on the timeline.
I have another question for you. On the elemental plane of water, is it fresh water or salt water?
Fresh water.
Why?
It's salt water.
Because salt would be earth, no?
Maybe at more of the intersections, it could be more mineral focused, I would say.
If these intersections combined, I would agree. But then I thought we were saying that the point of these material planes was that they were only containing their prime materials.
Well, yeah, I'd agree with you on that point, except
Actually,
we've had beings from the vast oceans of the plane of water appear in our oceans, and they survive in the salty water. So either they magically can survive in salt water, or their plane already has salt somehow.
I've
And
heard
oxygen, like there'd be no air in the water, so the conditions between the two planes are very different.
I've heard some theories that salt can be thought of as more of an element of death. So in places where it's saltier, that's more of a close of an intersection between the negative energy plane and the water plane.
I need booze.
And I'm gonna flag Desmond down to get me a fucking huge pitcher. This is above my Minotaur's head right now.
The old woman pulls out a pair of gold coins and waves them in above her head as a symbol of like, I'm gonna cover this bill. And then just continues with her line of questioning. So, if it's salty near an intersection of the negative energy plane, does that mean the negative energy plane exists on the same, in the same dimension as the elemental planes?
Well, the negative has to physically be in the same dimensions because that's how it works. But as its same dimensional properties, no.
Well, it could be orthogonal though, right? What if we're thinking about multiple dimensions that intersect and cross between each other at certain points?
She muses to herself.
Well, the thing is,
and pulls out a piece of paper and begins to make a doodle.
Are we looking for a fifth element here?
You see this here. Oh, that's a rubbish color. This here are the elements, the elemental planes, as I understand them. And they are dissected?
Why don't you just show your diagram, Neal? You've already drawn
in
this.
4 ways. We should probably just rotate the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Yeah, we go.
So, down here, we have Earth. Over here, we have water. And over here, we have fire. And on the top is air. So if we consider this like a pizza crust with these 4 things intersecting, where in this diagram is the negative energy plane?
Above it and below it.
Under it.
Well, I mean, it's not literally under, not literally over. It's occupying the same space, but not visible.
Well, if that is the case, then how could you have salt water in some parts of the water plane, but not others, if it permeates it in the same space?
Yeah. Well, Desmond, do you have a portal to the elemental plane of water?
I sure do!
Is it salty there or fresh water there?
Smells like urine.
Oh, okay.
There's an outhouse out back. Little hole in it. You can go spelunking if you want.
The elemental plane of water, Desmond.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of elements down in there, buddy.
All right, thanks for being useful and not handing us the answers on a platter.
My pleasure.
It looks like he doesn't have a portal to that one.
The more I
Are the-
think about it, I question how many different types are in each all of these things. Is it purely just water and salt water or other liquids? Is the air simply air or is it other gases? Is the fire simply energy and fire? Is the earth, did we have it all wrong and the earth is just dirt and not other types of earth? Ah!
These are fantastic questions.
Mato, take inspiration.
Well, speaking of the elemental plane of air, here is a real brain twister for you. What is air?
Well,
Because
we just
there are
if you were to
gases,
sink a ship,
but what is air?
Well,
Because not all gases are air, and not all air is, well, yes, all air is a gas. But if I were to create, a death cloud or a cloud kill spell, that's not normal air, right? That's
But is it
deadly air. So what is
it's
air?
pollution. You're asking if air pollution is air.
Oh, I'm just asking what is air.
By default, I would think air is breathable air that we can breathe instead of like cave air that might not be breathable.
But the Minotaur
obviously I
just
am
said the
biased.
elemental plane of air might have other gases in it. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. Like, obviously, I only have the basics of education as a cleric in this regard. We have to learn how the elemental planes work and interact, but not the specifics. But if it is multiple gases, some gases mix and explode. But the elemental plane has been ongoing for beyond our world's existence. So,
So what's in the elemental plane of
stable
air?
in a way.
What's there then? Who has an answer for me?
Anything gaseous is air?
Well, there's other theories that maybe that there aren't. I'm not sure about a lot of these new gases theories. Maybe there's just a theory that air is just an element. It just is, and
Okay.
it might be infused with different energies, but it's still just there's no different types of air. There maybe it just is air, just like there just is fire, right?
Yeah, but there are
I see,
things
because
that
we don't
live
have
in these
different
planes.
flavors of fire. It might come in
that's-
different colors, but it's just fire no matter what. The color changes as the brightness burns.
But we have
I see.
normal fire and magical fire, which are two different flavors of fire.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's
that's
no
true.
magical fire in the elemental plane of fire, just
Is there
natural
not?
fire. No.
Well, it certainly must be natural fire. If it's the elemental fire, then it must be.
Yeah, it's the element of fire.
Or
it's not-
is the element of fire magical by nature? I don't know. That's why I've come to you people to get answers to these questions.
So, sorry, ma'am. What's your name?
My name?
Yes.
Haven't I already introduced myself to you?
No, actually.
Oh, my name is
I would have
Dizzy.
written it down. Dizzy.
Well,
Is there an elemental plane of life?
no. Not to my knowledge.
Well, that's sort of where we are. Nadinus is here. Well, oh yes.
Like not a like where does the positive energy come from? Is positive energy just from is that just God's energy, or is it not really
Fantastic
the opposite of negative?
Well,
energy?
the idea is that negative energy is the opposite of what actually is, which is the positive. So positive is just what's normal for us, but we're just calling it is positive, while negative is the opposite, the inverse.
So we are in the positive energy.
Well, we're in the prime material plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is positive energy. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's legends of other planes existing, of course, where the demons are and whatever things come from, but that's all theoretical where they are actually from.
Maybe we
All
have this
theoretical.
all wrong, and these planes aren't pure, and they're simply high percentage and theme and all of that. Maybe the elemental plane of Earth does have air, but that is not the prime point of it.
Oh, so you think there's a little bit of mixing between the planes? They aren't quite pure.
I'm not sure how else. I'm not sure how else this could even be otherwise.
Oh.
Well, it's the concept that becomes material.
I don't believe you could travel to a concept.
Well, I said became material through the will of the gods.
And now that it is material, maybe it is impure, because only a concept can be pure.
So once they become tangible upon creation and the edges intersected, there was mixing going on, but
then do all these planes trend towards our mixed plane over time?
Yeah, like, is there something are they infinite, I guess? Do they go out?
Well, it's theoretically infinite, but there is probably finite size to it, so the gods wouldn't bother making something that big. Maybe finite, but it's beyond our comprehension, the size.
Maybe these planes are simply the source of these materials, and it has nothing to do with purity or anything of the likes.
Well, as a material girl living in a material world, I would like to get a little bit more nitty-gritty about the nature of these places. So you say or suppose that the planes might not be pure, that you get a little mix in each. Does that mean the water and earth mix and the fire and earth mix? Does that mean that the air and earth mix if they're on opposite sides of one another? Is my diagram all wrong?
If your diagram is accurate, then they do connect in the center.
Well, the center's where we are.
Yes, and that means that air can go from air land to our land to earth land.
Well, we get the Kraken that's off the coast of Arcadia, from the elemental plane of water. Theoretically, that's what the literature says. But obviously, this is theoretical.
But if elements can go from their plane to our plane, can things go from our plane to their plane? Well, if so, then by definition, there's a mix of all four in all four lands.
Would there be? I feel like there would be different mixes, though. Maybe cool, because I'm thinking there's probably not going to be much fire in the elemental plane of water at all.
This is true.
They directly cancel out. But I feel like in the elemental plane of earth or air, I see no reason why those two elements couldn't exist at the same time.
Wouldn't then the spots where the earth be in the elemental plane of air be pockets of the elemental plane of earth?
And then there could be pockets of the elemental plane of fire and water and fire.
So you could just have bubbles of fire mixed in with seawater? That doesn't seem to make sense.
But the question is the plane of water purely water, or is there air and earth and fire as well? Why would one plane...
Is there a sea floor to it? Is there a sea floor to the elemental plane of water? Because we're told it's vast oceans, but is there a sea floor to that ocean?
If there was no air in the water, why would there be air in the earth and all of the same? There would be no way for any of us to even enter some of these lands.
Interesting.
I mean, Ledesmond, when he's not distracted, has visited these other planes, but...
So, we talked about diamonds and golds and other metals possibly existing in the plane of Earth.
We should just
metals
open
a subset of Earth?
See.
Yes.
I see.
Well, classically, yes.
Perhaps not in our world here.
Then what would be a subset of water?
Heavier fluids.
Humid water. Humid
Doesn't
air.
make sense.
Humid air.
You mean,
Isn't that subsets of the elemental plane of air rather than the elemental plane of water?
I believe what might be is there are pure elements of each, earth, water, and fire, and the mixing of such is what creates other materials. It might not be that the diamonds exist because we're in the land of earth. Maybe it is the diamonds that exist because of the mixing of earth and fire and such.
So earth and fire mix and you get different types of gemstones. Rubies, emeralds, diamonds.
There are the pure elements at the source of the planes, and they mix to form others.
And then I guess we life are are the mix of air, earth, water, and fire together.
Yes.
And the gods' divine will upon the people to create the life. Because life without the gods can't exist, because of Falumba are above and Martha creating.
Right.
But are there gods for the elements in their own plane?
No.
How would you know this?
Our gods are the only gods that exist.
On this plane, perhaps, no? Are there no gods in other planes of existence?
If there's a demon plane, they do not have gods, and they wish they had our gods.
But what about other planes? In all of the planes that could potentially exist, you think there are no other gods simply here?
Like a
We're
fire
the prime
god?
material plane. How can there be other planes?
We are saying by definition there are other planes, no?
Well, they're elemental planes, not material planes.
This seems like semantics.
Yes, it is. That's how religion works.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, if
Maybe we should
gemstone-
open a portal and find out.
Oh, flip, no.
Oh, that's far too dangerous. I came here for safety.
No.
If I wanted to
No
kill
way.
myself, there are easier ways.
Yeah.
Besides, how could we go to one of these places without first discussing what's there?
Exactly. I mean, we've all heard of the shadow plane, of course.
No, I haven't. But I'll get there.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'll ran it back. Back to the elementals.
So, gemstones. Mixture of maybe fire and earth or water and earth or something like that. Who knows?
Where's the topaz fit in all that?
Well, I don't know. It could just be different proportions. You know, this type of earth with this type of fire gives you this type of gem. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
But I can understand impurities in earth and to somewhat in water. What would the water impurities look like if we're calling gemstones impurities?
Humid
Is that
air,
what salt is?
watery
Is salt
sand,
an impurity?
salty water.
Well, by
Yes,
definition,
anything-
it is.
Anything besides pure water would be. By what we say here, my theory would be that the prime material planes have a source of the pure element, and flowing through that, it fills the plane and then spills into other planes. There would be a source of the purest of forms for that plane.
Yeah, but what specifically?
I'm just
Water would be
interesting,
pure water.
Sorry.
Anything besides pure water would be by definition a mix.
Right, but what sorts of things might exist?
I'm
What-
not sure I understand your question.
Well, you're saying that anything that exists in the plane of water that isn't fresh water is a result of the impurities, and I'm asking what are these other things that aren't fresh water? Not just
Quicksilver.
where do they come from, but can you give me an example?
Well,
Quicksilver.
Quicksilver's a mix of earth and water, sort of. I mean, it's a fluidic substance.
Yeah.
Salt water, mineral water, humid air.
Because I've always found it interesting that's the plane of water, not the plane of liquid. So that means only water is considered an
Yes.
elemental.
The
So
purest
what are other
of elements.
liquids?
Mixes.
Yeah, because it's earth, and earth is many different minerals.
But
Liquid
blood?
itself.
Water is just water. Things
Liquid
that we can
itself is
drink.
not an element.
I would say there's blood. So that's a liquid. That could be like a mix of earth, water, and life, I guess.
Do you think there are bloody patches to the elemental plane of water?
No.
I wouldn't think so, but I could be wrong.
Well, perhaps if there's an area of life or something from that area.
Well, we are told that there are sea monsters and sea creatures that live in that plane.
How
Like
is that
the-
possible? That there are sea monsters when only life should appear in our prime material plane?
Well, apparently, it's like the elementals, but you also get something like the Kraken
Are
allegedly from
sea
there.
monsters sea elementals?
No, that's the odd thing about it.
So the plane of water has life? Does life
Allegedly,
come from water?
I haven't seen it myself. Like, the story could be completely wrong, and they'll create it on our plane.
Well, if water elementals are life, then surely
Are
there must be
elementals
life on the.
life?
Are elementals alive?
I did
That's
not
a good
believe they
question.
were. I
They
believe they
I
were.
didn't know
Move.
that.
I don't
Well,
know if
yeah,
they're
not
sentient
all
in the
that
same
moves.
way.
Are they
It might be like
sentient?
mushrooms, you know, sort of naturally occurring stupid things, but on a more powerful form. Yeah. Can you imagine mushrooms just walking around destroying things without thinking about it?
I can only think of Timo. Sorry.
What?
Nothing.
Okay.
No, I think the mushroom monsters, those would be in the elemental plane of Earth, I would say, because that's where mushrooms generally grow underground in caves.
Yeah, but that's life as well, though.
Yeah.
Well, mycenoids do live here on the prime material plane, but I'm just making the point that if elementals exist, they're clearly some sort of living creature.
Yeah.
They must exist on the elemental planes, right? That's why we call them earth elementals and rock elementals and fire elementals.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they're alive or not. Like, could they be healed by a cleric healing one? Like, that would tell us if they're alive. If they're not alive, a cleric healing spell would not work upon them.
So we're not even sure if elementals are alive, is what we're saying here.
Perhaps it could just be a phenomenon, right? Like, so, for example, if you're just talking about regular fire in general, that moves, that affects things, and that might look like it's alive, but I wouldn't say that fire itself is alive.
Yeah, but we have literal fire elementals, humanoid shapes of fire, or swirling vortexes of fire, or towns have been attacked by them in the past.
But they could just be natural phenomenon that has switched its place of origin, I think is what the wizard is saying. Am I right?
The shape, the shapes imply.
Interesting. So the elementals might not even be alive, which I think gets rid of the morality question of using elementals to power golems.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Yeah. There's some party defeated an earth elemental here a few years back. I don't think there's any remnants of it here, though.
But then back to the point, in the elemental plane of water, are there sea monsters or sea elementals?
I don't know. My literature says one thing, but I've never, researched it. Theoretically, there shouldn't be, because life was created here.
Mm-hmm.
But we definitely know there are elementals in the elemental planes. So obviously, there's something beyond life.
If a kraken was a sea elemental from the sea elemental plane, maybe it does not even bleed.
People have cut its tentacles, but they are usually overwhelmed afterwards. The Dracocean... we don't know about that, no.
Can we hunt a kraken?
Well, you can if you want. Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Wait, what if a sea monster is also an elemental, but it's different than like a water elemental because it's a different combination, right? It's kind of like how you have crystal golems, which you will say a combination of earth and fire, kind of. We could say that maybe water, these sea monsters are a combination of earth and water.
Mm-hmm. But that is why I question if they would bleed, if they are organic or simply look it and are actually constructs and elementals.
If they are actually the sea monsters are actually from the plane, they would have to be composed of their primal element, but they obviously appear as organic beings. Or they have the power to make themselves into organic beings when they cross over.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, could we define an organic being as somebody who's a combination of all four elements?
That's part of it, yeah. Yeah, everything in this world is a combination of the four elements, allegedly.
Where is the fire within us? Because I can see air and water and sort of earth in your bones.
Madam.
Your heart.
In your heart,
fire
madam.
Of the heart.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit of metaphysical. Your body generates exothermal heat.
Yeah.
I see.
In your faith for the gods.
Well, you don't have to have. Not everyone has to have some passion for the gods. Just worship them every Sunday or Saturday or whatever.
I see.
I might be a cleric, but let's set realistic goals. I don't want the farmers to stop working on the fields.
There's also the matter of the fire being contained within us. You cannot burn a stone, you cannot burn water, you cannot burn air, but you can burn somebody. The fire is released.
Well, we've got within us that are flammable. Yes.
The fire will be released.
So anything that's flammable is a part of the fire elemental plane.
So we've talked about the impurities of the earth plane, minerals and golds, metals, that sort of things, gemstones, and the impurities in the elemental plane of water, which might be quicksilver, salt water, sandy water, bloody patches, something like that. What might the impurities within the elemental plane of air?
Farts.
Farts.
We're talking about flammable gases. Anything that explodes is an impurity.
Yes.
Flammable
That is what I meant.
gases. Does that mean if you are cruising around the elemental plane of air with a torch, you might accidentally blow yourself up?
Yes.
That's what I was thinking. Because it is all air. Because unlike water, which is specified as water, air can contain many sorts of gases, not just breathable gases.
What else might be in the elemental plane of air?
Dusty
that is not
air.
Dusty air.
Humid air.
Humid air. See, it makes more sense to have it there than in the elemental plane of water. You know, I can't imagine air patches existing surrounded by water. It might float. If there's an up and if there's a down, is there even up and down?
How do we picture these being connected? Is there an edge? Is it portals?
Well, they're not literally wedges. They're like planes of existence that overlap. Well, I mean, they're not.
They must intersect, right? There must be a bottom to the ocean unless it's endless in all directions.
I think just loops. I think the gods just looped it. So you get to one end and you're just the other end. But the planes do overlap because of the way the world's created. These elemental planes were forced to overlap in these places.
Then I would see.
While this simplified diagram's nice and fine, it is more of a miasma.
I would see these impurities potentially existing in multiple places. For example, human air in the edge between the water and the air. It can exist in both. Same with sandy water. It could be water with sand within the little cracks of the sand or anything of the sort. If it exists in one because it's a mix of two, why would it not exist in both? Lava at the edge of earth and fire as well. It can exist in either, I would assume.
So lava at the border of earth and fire. You said marsh at the border of water and earth. What about the border between air and fire?
Extremely scalding hot air.
Firestorms? I mean, the fire's going to be whipped up into...
Fire tornadoes.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking.
Cool.
That sounds
beautiful.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Yes, terrifying. Yes.
Inspired.
Wow.
Inspired.
And what about the border of air and water? Is it just like an ocean's edge?
You do get water tornadoes as well, but
humid
they're less dramatic.
Air.
Fog?
Is it just
because it's fog as well?
Fog. Fog, water spouts, humid air. Isn't humid air just fog? I'm just gonna get rid of humid air. She says, scratching it out. Sounds just like fog. What else is at those borders?
Waterfalls.
I would
Where's
imagine...
the water fall from?
One plane to the next.
So the elemental plane of air or water just goes and then changes height and just has water endlessly flowing down it? For as far as the eye can see in every direction?
The wind, the air might direct the water even back into its own plane. You can have waterfalls coming out and then back in due to the force of the air and the wind.
Oh, so like a water fountain?
Rivers through the plane of air that can head right back into the plane of water.
There are underground rivers, yes. I mean, underwater rivers.
Sky rivers.
I would imagine that was going to be the safest place to live, actually, between the planes. You could have like a boat set up. That's probably where much of the life is. Especially the ones that need air to breathe, but still live in the ocean.
As long as the water is fresh and not bloody.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Interesting. Are there any other impurities in the elemental plane of air other than flammable gases, farts, dusty air, and humid air?
Well, the fire tornadoes and such would be considered impurities for our purposes as well.
Certainly,
The
but that
edges
seems to
on
be a
both
border
sides.
issue, yes.
I believe the border issues are the impurities from my understanding.
So that means you would only find gemstones in the elemental plane of earth near where it intersects the elemental plane of fire. But if
I
you went
feel
the
you
other
think-
direction, you wouldn't come across any metals or gemstones?
I feel you're taking things extremely literally. I think it would be more likely to be found at the edge, but not necessarily only. Yes.
So you might get a fire tornado and a water tornado near each other.
It
in the
depends
elemental
how
plane
these
of air.
planes are imposed together. If the borders between them can be close, then it is possible, but I do not know how these planes are imposed together, whether there are edges, infinites, or anything of the likes.
Well, there's a claim it's infinite, but I don't know. Everything infinite, but the infinite's overlapping with other infinites, then it means it's finite.
That's too complicated for me. I like to deal,
Yeah.
as I said before, I'm a material girl in a material world, and I like to deal
Yeah.
with finite quantities.
Yeah,
This
that's why I'm
infinite
saying-
stuff
that's
is
why
too
I've left it
difficult
out.
to understand.
Yeah. Nice dog.
So what does the elemental plane of fire look like? Is it just fire?
Lava. The fire, yeah. Yeah,
Is that it?
What
Is
would
it
it
just-
look like? It can't be lava because lava's at the edge. So what is?
Is it just fire everywhere? Just different colors of fire for as far as you can see?
Different intensities of fire, I would assume, yes.
Well, what's it burning? I mean, yeah, I get fire can burn without in the elemental plane without.
It would be fires and the impurities, as we said. There would be molten rock, there would be lava, there would be fire tornadoes, there would be anything of the likes.
Yeah.
Or perhaps it's just at many places it's just heat. It might not even be visible.
I would assume that would be
Non-light
near.
producing fire?
Oh,
Just pure heat?
I would.
Yeah.
Fiery meteors of rock.
Fiery meteors of rock? Just sort of like plunging through the air?
Yes,
The area?
like the sky rivers.
I would expect there actually would be the most intertwining between air and fire of the planes, because so you actually might expect to see more air. So maybe that's why you see fire.
I mean, in our world, fire requires air to exist, but
It requires air and a source of fuel, typically something woody, right?
yes.
So if fire needs, in our world, fire needs both the elemental plane of earth and air to exist and is destroyed by the elemental plane of water.
If our
Similarly-
theories are correct,
Yeah.
if our theories are correct, I feel like any traversal into these planes, you would always wish to be on a borderline. For going purely into the center of these planes seems almost infeasible to go into the pure elements, pure element of rock, pure element of fire, air, unless you fly, and water, you'd have to swim in the purity of water. But
Yes.
along the edge cases, that is where I think we would see a bit more viability to explore.
Is there light in these planes? That's what I'm wondering, because you said you'd fire without visible heat. I mean, heat without flame, but I mean, other than the elemental plane of fire, are any of these planes lit up?
She looks to the wizard.
I think there are like, how else would people know about these? Well,
Is there light?
maybe there's just maybe just light is just energy that suffuses things. Elemental planes have lots of energies in general, so because of that causes light.
Interesting concept. So you would think that light would exist throughout all the planes naturally.
But light comes from the luminous. How does that work?
Well, maybe that's for our plane, but I think that anything with energy can create light.
Interesting.
Or simply put, since we have a god of light and a god of darkness, the absence of either god in these planes means that things are visible without light or darkness. Everything is visible and nothing is visible at the same time. You just see.
Sort of dim everything.
There is no light, there is no shadow, there is just vision.
I don't understand that. That boggles my mind, good sir. I can't comprehend.
Dim without light and dark.
You cannot say there's an absence of light
without having light.
But
how can you have dimness without dark?
Magic.
I don't know.
Magic.
I don't. Clearly, we weren't meant to exist in these places, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, it would be obvious and apparent to us. That is why I have come to this tavern, the place with the greatest collection of knowledge in the world. No one would expect it, but it is so. Creatures of every walk of life come through this tavern. I see goblins and kobolds, gnomes, halflings, dwarves, even an elf and a half-elf. Look, there's a minotaur right here, wizards and clerics. It is the most diverse group of people you will ever find, from every background and every school, all here. And that's why I've come to write my essays on the plains and gather information from all of you. Almost every school? Who's missing?
Well, there's the forbidden school that we mustn't speak of.
She turns the page, sharpens her quill, dips it, and goes, yes, and what's this forbidden
The gods have forbidden this from this world. They kill any who attempt to learn it.
But can you speak it?
What if we leave this world and go to a different plane and talk about it? Then are we safe?
Theoretically.
Can we resurrect on a different plane?
No. Our souls... Okay, let's say this much. If you die on the other plane, the god isn't there to give you the spell resurrection.
If you die on another plane, you die for real? My. It's a dangerous world we live in. Let me go see if I can get another round of ales from Desmond, and we'll continue this conversation once I come back with a few more drinks on the other side of our break. See you guys soon.